we can go through the from the article 1 to article 30, we will see that these two school of thoughts which I earlier mentioned, that one school of thought is called the natural school of thought, that which bases the origins of the rights just because I am a human or just because I am a member of a humanity. So we will see both school of thoughts incorporated into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights appeals to the human rights as a universal, appeals to the inherent dignity, appeals to the fundamental freedoms. So these notions of natural school of thought was also incorporated. On the other hand, we saw that the legal codification, like the positivist school, was also incorporated. So in all, 30 articles were made in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Is the word declaration because declaration is legally non-binding, and when we saw the declaration non-binding, basically United Nations originally wanted to make a binding convention, because at that time the socialist bloc was emphasizing too much weight on the economic, social, cultural rights, and the capitalist or the libertarian economy school of thought was focusing too much on civil and political rights. Let me explain that the formulation of rights has originally started from the enshrinement of the civil and political rights. Like civil rights, when we say civil rights, that every person should be treated in accordance with law, no one should be arrested arbitrarily or detained arbitrarily, no one should be subjected to torture, inhuman, degrading treatment or punishment, every person has right to equality before law or a due process of a law. Or when we can say that every person has equality before a competent, fair tribunal or a court, and he or she should not be subjected to the retrospective punishment or the self-incrimination. So these were all the civil rights which were incorporated and which has evolved through the 17th and 18th centuries. We call them the Bill of Rights. So this is the actually first generation of rights, or the first way of rights which has first evolved, and along with that was the political rights, right to vote, right to form political party, right to participate into the political affairs of the state, right to contest the political office, and then we saw right to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, the public four freedoms which were freedom of expression, thought, conscience, and so these are called the public freedoms. So we saw that the evolution of civil and political rights. So one school of thought are the capitalist countries or the Western countries were focusing civil and political rights. The other school of thought was focusing on the economic, social and cultural rights. Right to food, right to water, right to employment, and right to you can say environment, like in a way. So these countries were saying that these are the basic rights which are needed. The other school of thought says no, these are not basic, but these are the fundamental rights. So we saw the artificial division between the rights. One camp or one block was terming the right as a basic rights, other block was terming them the fundamental rights, and date analogy of basic rights and fundamental rights we found into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So from Article 1 to 20 you will see the civil and political rights in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and from Article 21 to 28 you will see the economic, social and cultural rights in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So that is the second generation of human rights. But with the passage of a time, we had seen that these generations or waves of right were not only confined these two, but in the 60s, when there was a decolonization, when there was a right to self-determination exercised by the peoples or the nations from the those who colonized them, or their right to determine their political destiny, or to use their resources for their development. So then we saw the evolution of another generation or a wave of a right, that is called the group rights or solidarity rights or the development rights, and these are called the green rights. And other generation of rights which we had seen evolving since the 90s and currently, that is the reproductive rights, that is the once controlled to formulate their body or right to sexual orientation. So these are called the pink rights. So we had seen that the human rights which has originated from the various struggles throughout the history, so they were formulated in civil and political rights, economic, social, cultural rights, then we can say the solidarity group rights, and now it is the reproductive rights, so it is the fourth generation. So these are the United Nations formulation.